Good evening. Coming up in this package, language experts highlight the importance of being multilingual in today's world.
Ghana Police Service clears the streets of violators of road regulations.
And Nobel-winning drug tackles malaria, says researchers.
These headlines and more coming up in the next 60 minutes. Good evening. Welcome to the studios of GBC and GBC24 and GTV. I'm Akushika Akoe.
And I'm Conrad Kakraba, and Robert Frimpolmansu is doing the sign language translation.
The ability to speak more than one language today is a huge advantage. Language experts are meeting at the University of Ghana to drum home the need to be multilingual. This conference is coming at a time when Ghana's Education Ministry is seeking to implement the use of the mother tongue as a medium of instruction at the basic level. We'll bring you pictures to that story later in this package.
The country's lawmakers are back to the business of the House after 3 months of recess. Speaker Do Ajaho entreated members to be circumspect in their engagement with the public. He cited recent unfavorable media reports about Parliament as a blight on the House.
The Speaker, Mr. Do Ajaho, welcoming members from the recess, announced that the new refurbished Job 600 office building for their use is completed and advised members and their staff to use the facility prudently. He also informed the House of the approval for the establishment of a parliamentary training institute to train the lawmakers and staff. In a statement, the Member of Parliament for Subin, Mr. Isaac Osei, lauded the UN on its 70th anniversary. He said the UN has contributed significantly to the resolution of many conflicts in a number of countries in the world, especially in African countries. Mr. Osei said it is time Africa has a voice and a representation on the Security Council, considering their numbers.
In 1945, Egypt, Ethiopia, Liberia, and the Union of South Africa were the only African founding members. Today, there are 54 African member countries. Most of them were colonies, protectorates, or trust territories of one power or the other in 1945. The question of voice of the UN has become increasingly important and re-echoes Nkrumah's 1960 call for an African seat on the Security Council. Mr. Speaker, since 1945, many countries and people have been scarred by the scourge of conflicts and war. But because of the existence of the UN, the world has so far been spared a worldwide conflagration as occurred in the Second World War.
Members also praised the UN for promoting rapid development to ensure prosperity, security, and dignity for all humans.
I want to appeal to it that so far I think the balance of power in the United Nations is not very fair. It is skewed towards the West. And I want to appeal to them to ensure that at least there is fairness and then cooperation among all nations, so that in dignity and with a sense of equality, we shall also work to ensure that the world continues to enjoy the peace that it has known so far.
Sitting continues on Wednesday.
On Friday, 30th October 2015, all Africans on the continent will celebrate the Africa Day for Food and Nutrition Security. This is a forum to share thoughts on how to find workable solutions to ensure food security on the continent. And ahead of the event, the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, in collaboration with USAID, has sensitized school children in Accra on the importance of nutrition.
A report from the United Nations indicates that food insecurity is still a major global concern, as 1 billion people are suffering from starvation and malnutrition. The Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations has concluded that the world is still far from reaching most of the Millennium Development Goals, even as they expire at the end of 2015. In sub-Saharan Africa, the number of people suffering from hunger is estimated at 239 million, and this figure could increase in the near future. This is why in 2010, the African Union introduced the Africa Day for Food and Nutrition Security to share thoughts on finding workable solutions to food insecurity and malnutrition. At the 2015 edition, which has the theme, Empowering Our Women, Securing Food and improving nutrition, some basic school students in Accra were taken through the importance of a balanced diet.
When we eat well, then we'll be sharp. We'll be able to pay attention in class. We can have retentive memory, and that will help us to go in our academics.
An agricultural economist at USAID, Mr. Maxwell Agbenohe, said all hands must be on deck to improve on agriculture for the benefit of all. A gender specialist for the USAID Agriculture Policy Support Project, Ms. Hannah Nyamiche, encouraged the students to take their nutrition seriously. Participants included representatives from USAID and Ministry of Food and Agriculture with support from the UN system and civil society.
The need for proper hand washing has again been underscored. The observance of this year's Global Hand Washing Day at WA in the Upper West region focused on how to instill the habit of hand washing in children in order to prevent diseases.
Dedicated to increasing awareness and understanding on the importance of hand washing, soap is an effective and affordable way to prevent diseases and save lives. The day, which is celebrated annually, serves as an opportunity to design, test and replicate creative ways to encourage people to wash their hands with soap. The celebration this year was on the theme Raise a Hand for Hygiene. The event in the Upper West region under the auspices of Zoom Lion brought together children from 20 basic schools in the WA municipality. The Regional Environmental Health Officer, Mr. Henry Baga, described the hand as one of the most useful parts of the human body since it is used to carry out all activities. As a result, the hand, he said, is a major conduit for the transmission of bacteria and germs, especially if it is not properly cleaned.
Some national service personnel at the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation have been deployed to start collecting the TV license fee from corporate bodies in Accra. The Deputy Director of Finance and Head of the TV License Unit at GBC, Reverend Ebenezer Bochi, led the team.
The mobile collection of the TV license fees is on the list of avenues recommended by the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation for the public to pay their TV license fee. To start this process, some national service personnel at the corporation were at Accra's Airport City to collect TV license fees from corporate organizations. They visited UT Bank, Marina Mall, the Samsung outlet, and the Vodafone office. Officers with television sets and had not paid their TV license fee were issued with an invoice, after which they promised to pay as soon as possible. The Deputy Director of Finance and Head of TV License Unit at GBC, Reverend Emmanuel Boche, said this form of collection is to bring the pay point to busy individuals and corporate bodies to enable them honor their obligation.
Some of the companies, we issued invoice to them, like Marina Mall and others have asked us to come because either the owners of the business are not there. So we believe that, during the week, we should be able to do some collections.
The mobile team is set to be at the Osu Cantonments Road, otherwise known as Oxford Street, Accra Central, Spintex Road, and all shopping malls in Accra.
The Tamale Metropolitan Assembly has been described as a shining model in implementing government projects. The Local Government and Rural Development Minister Alhaji Collins Dauda commended the Assembly for the number of projects executed on schedule.
Several communities in Tamale have been selected to benefit from the Ghana Urban Management Pilot Project, GUMPP. GUMPP was made possible under a Ghana-France collaboration with a loan facility of 40 million euros through the Agence Française de Développement. The money was provided to help carry out infrastructural development in some communities in the country. The beneficiary communities include Tishegu, Salamba, and Mushi Zongo, Gumani, among others. Storm drains and a retention pond was under construction at Gumani. The over 6 million Ghana cedi project, when complete, will have a 1.2 kilometer lining, footbridges and culvert. The aim of the project is to help address the perennial flooding, which has become a source of worry to residents and the country at large. The upgrading of Mushi-Zongo and Tishegu communities have also been completed. The project involved the construction of a 2.5 kilometer stretch of roads, side drains, street light and water extension, as well as upgrading of sanitation facilities to promote the safe consumption of meat by the public. The government has also constructed a new abattoir for the Tamale metropolis. The new facility has a slaughterhouse, a biodigester and a 10-seater toilet facility. Other projects inspected included the upgrading of a heavy-duty vehicle park and a supermarket at Abuabo, funded by the government of Ghana. The local government minister, Alhaji Collins Dauda, implored contractors working on the ongoing project to complete them on schedule. The Tamale Metropolitan Chief Executive, Alhaji Abdul Hanan Gundao, showed appreciation for government attention on the area. He revealed the Assembly's intention to plant 20 million tree seedlings to accomplish the Green Tamale project. 3 other cities, Sekindi, Takrade, Ho and Kumasi, are also benefiting from the loan facility.
2 Christian books, What is Amazing About Jesus and Knowing Him Better, have been launched in Accra. The immediate past National Director of the Scripture Union, Apostle Jude Hammer, authored the books with the aim of helping all Christians to know more about the amazing Christ and build their Christian lives. The wife of the Vice President, Mrs. Matilda Mr. Arthur, launched the books.
There are 2 books, What is Amazing About Jesus and Knowing Him Better. Both Christian literature were launched in Accra. What is Amazing About Jesus is a 144-page book which delves into the depths and height of the amazing love and power of Jesus Christ. Both books are to edify the reader and renew his faith in God. The author, Apostle Jude Hammer, has been in ministry for the past 35 years and was once a National Director of the Scripture Union. For more than 20 years, he mentored young people and says he was inspired to document his rich experiences and encounters in life.
We believers are likely to do a good or a poor presentation of who this Jesus is to the people if we do not know him better through the Bible. This amazing Jesus, do we sufficiently create the understanding to people listening to us that he is the Tumirwa? That's a wizard.
The wife of the Vice President, Mrs. Matilda Mr. Arthur, encouraged Christians to practice what they preach.
We have said that we know the Lord. We have said that we are even striving to know him better. And we say that he's an amazing God. And if he's all these things, then he should have impacted our lives in such a way that we can also impact the lives of others.
She encouraged all, especially Christians, to get copies of the book for a closer walk with God. Theodora Medeto, GBC24, Accra.
Now to our earlier story on multilingualism. The ability to speak more than one language today is a huge advantage. Language experts are meeting at the University of Ghana to drum home the need to be multilingual. This conference is coming at a time when Ghana's Education Ministry is seeking to implement the use of the mother tongue as a medium of instruction at the basic level.
Language plays a fundamental role in every society. One of the legacies transferred to African countries by their colonial masters is the adoption of European languages, especially English and French, as official languages. While some consider this as a resource, others see it as a challenge. The language conference to discuss multilingualism in the African context and its implications for education, political, social and cultural lives brought together participants from African countries such as Ghana, Togo, Kenya and Ethiopia, and others from the United States, United Kingdom, the Netherlands, among others. Some of the speakers spoke to GBC24.
To remember that we need to situate this within our context, our multilingual context. Sometimes people think that the country, the let's say parts of Accra is representative of the country. There are so many children out in this country who grow up speaking their mother tongues or the local languages, and so it is important, and indeed it is their right.
My politics has always been, that multilingualism is not a problem in Africa. It should not be constructed as a problem. What we need to do is to find a way of harnessing the resource that multilingualism is.
Now, we hope that people will come and make their views known. They also come to listen to the experts on these issues, and then in the process we all come to a consensus of what will really be beneficial to the students in this country. It is important that we make a decision on the language that will help our people acquire the best of education when they need to acquire it.
The conference ends on Thursday. The Ghana Police Service has impounded about 800 vehicles across the capital for violating various road regulations. Offenders are currently being processed for court, and according to the police, the exercise is to ensure order on the roads and instill discipline ahead of the end of the year activities.
In the soup, the Adoko police impounded 100 vehicles, Tesano 690 and Madina Denta 70 for Bachuna. 83 vehicles were seized. Kaneshi had 80. The seized vehicles had either drive from Port DP or defective vehicle DV number plates. These two number plates are not to be used for any form of routine work. The DP number plates are allowed for use for only 10 days from the day of collection from the port, while the DV is meant for use from one's place of residence to the garage, the fitting shop, or for a test drive by a potential buyer. The use of the DV number plate comes along with a logbook, where the user is supposed to log from the time and change in locations of use. However, owners of these vehicles violated the road regulations in one way or the other and are due for court.
When people buy vehicles, they are expecting, next year 2016 registration numbers. Some of these vehicles sometimes are being used for crime. They commit crime. Somebody's vehicle will also be stolen. So those people who have lost their vehicles, and then some of these vehicles, the people change and then they fix a fake DV or DP place on it. We're advising that they can visit any of these locations or inform the police so that we can track and find out whether any of these are vehicles and any of these places.
The head of the Accra Regional Police Command, DCOP Christian Tete Yohunu, advised the public to respect the country's laws to avoid any encounter with law enforcement agencies.
We'll be back with some more news. House of Health News brought to you by FPAC. FPAC blows your pain away. In Ghana, baked white clay, which is commonly referred to as ayilo in Ghana, is usually eaten by pregnant women. Nowadays, the business is becoming very lucrative as women who are not even pregnant consume it. Some take to it when they are indisposed and others consume it for no special reasons. But the question is, are there any nutritional benefits associated with ayilo, and can it be harmful to the health of an individual?
For most people, ayilo is made from white clay, which has been molded and baked for human consumption. An ayilo manufacturer in Accra, Madam Rejoice, hinted that ayilo is not made from clay, but rather a white stone which is pounded, molded, and baked. She added that the business is very lucrative as it serves as their main source of income.
This one, we are selling it for 10 for 10 pesos. We are selling it. Yes. A small one, 10 for 10 pesos. The big one, 6 for, and 7 for 20 pesos.
With several complications surrounding pregnancy, some pregnant women eat ailo in order not to feel nauseous. This is what some pregnant women had to say.
First, I have a habit of eating ailo, but at a point, I heard it was not good and I stopped. My advice to the public is that they should stop eating ailo because it is not good. It can cause infections in the unborn child.
Speaking to GBC24, a gynecologist at the La General Hospital, Dr. Amma Tamate, said there are no nutritional benefits from ailo. She emphasized that the intake of ailo can be very harmful to both the mother and the unborn child because it induces anemia.
Ailo, like I said earlier, is basically white clay. So when you eat ailo, you are eating soil or sand. And it has no proven medical benefits. However, it also contains organic material. For example, the eggs of some worms. These, when you eat, can grow in your body, inside your gut, grow into the adult worm, and they can drink your blood, literally speaking.
Medical professionals caution the general public, especially pregnant women, to avoid the consumption of ailo since it can be dangerous to their health.
Bani Cyril Arab is suffering from a kidney disease. He therefore has to undergo hemodialysis 3 times a week. Failure to do so could be fatal. An amount of 100,000 Ghana cedis is needed for a chronic dialysis to correct this abnormality.
Bani Cyril Aram is 25 years old and a level 300 student of the University of Education, Winneba. 6 months ago, Cyril started experiencing severe headache and blurred vision. Doctors later diagnosed it as a kidney disease. This has greatly affected Cyril as he can no longer go about his daily activities. As a student, his academic performance has come to a halt due to his ill health. Doctors say the best option is for him to undergo a chronic dialysis, which involves a total of 100,000 Ghana cedis.
Appealing to the public to come in and help assist me. As I'm here, I cannot drink like more than 2 sachets of water a day. I'm supposed to live on just 1 sachet of water a day. And in school, I feel weak. I cannot walk, so I can't go for lectures as normal as my colleagues.
Donations could be sent to the following account details: Ghana Commercial Bank, account name Sena Bani, account number 130-101-021-7052, or call 0540-517-922.
The health news is brought to you by FPAC. FPAC blows your pain away.
A parasitic worm-killing drug whose discovery won the Nobel Prize may also cut cases of malaria. Researchers say early data coming out of trials of ivermectin in Burkina Faso suggest it leads to 16% fewer cases of childhood malaria. Scientists at the American Society of Tropical Medicine and Hygiene's conference said the drug was toxic to blood-drinking mosquitoes. They said their findings were pretty exciting, but still at an early stage. Ivermectin is already used to kill parasitic worms, which affect a third of the world's population and cause illnesses, including river blindness and lymphatic filariasis. Its discovery won this year's Nobel Prize for Physiology or Medicine. Voters in Congo Republic have overwhelmingly backed a change in the constitution that will allow President Denis Sassou Nguesso to run for a 3rd consecutive term. The results of a referendum showed on Tuesday. Sassou Nguesso has ruled the oil-producing nation for 31 of the last 36 years, and the constitutional change makes it possible for the 71-year-old to win a further 5-year mandate at an election due next year. More than 92% of voters in Sunday's referendum supported the change, and turnout stood at 72% of the more than 1.8 million registered voters, according to figures from the Electoral Commission. 7 Tanzanian government ministers have lost their parliamentary seats to the opposition Ukawa coalition. This is evident in partial results from Sunday's vote. It is the biggest shock of the election so far, which is the most competitive in the country's history. The Electoral Commission has until Thursday to announce the final results. Observers from the European Union have given a positive assessment of the polls, but they raised several concerns, including the apparent failure of state media to give fair and equitable coverage to the opposition in the build-up to the election. The opposition Ukawa coalition on the semi-autonomous archipelago of Zanzibar has expressed concerns about the results announced so far. UN peacekeepers are lifting a security zone they imposed around the town of Kidal in northern Mali because fears of an attack have diminished after rival clans signed a peace deal earlier this month. A UN spokeswoman said on Tuesday that peacekeepers imposed the 20-kilometer zone on August the 20th over concerns that pro-government forces would try to take the separatist stronghold. Risks have diminished since the deal reached between the Ifogas and Ingad clans, the rival ethnic Tuareg groups supporting the separatist coordination of Azawad movements and the pro-government militia platform respectively. The government also signed an agreement with the separatists in June. We'll be back to continue with the package.
Good evening and update from the world of sports. I'm Theophilus Sampa. This is in partnership with Tobinco Pharmaceuticals Limited, producers of Lunat. Let's talk golf. Nafiu Abubakar of the Obuasi Golf Club and Jessica Tay of the Achimota Golf Club emerged the overall winners in the inaugural Achimota Golf Open. Aside the trophies and goodies they received, the two also won a return ticket to Washington, D.C. in the United States of America. More than 200 golfers, comprising 187 amateurs and 20 pros, took part in the Achimota Open. In their ranks were 2 golfers from Nigeria, IBB and Ikoyi, and 1 other from Togo. The 15 clubs were largely drawn from the local scene, with contributions coming from Takwa, Obuasi, Insuta, Celebrity, Tema Country, Buk Nankim, Royal, Beige, Tafu, Takradi, a local suburb called Gabon, and Achimota. The championship was to officially commission the refurbished course and clubhouse. The Achimota Club, the country's premier golfing destination, was established in 1927 and has since undergone various rehabilitation works, but none as comprehensive as was done over the last 2 years by Paul McGinley Golf, which redesigned the course to the USPGA standard through sponsorship by Italo Oil PLC. The clubhouse was rebuilt into a modern facility through contributions of members of the club. At the end of the competition, prizes were presented to deserving winners. Nafiu Abubakar of the Obuasi Club returned a gross score of 144 to finish ahead of his closest challenger, Maxwell Osei-Bonsu of the Royal Club of Kumasi, who grossed 151, with Yao Dogbe of Achimota finishing third with 152 gross. Jessica Tay of Achimota Club ensured the host club were represented on the honors list as she won the ladies competition with a gross score of 167, beating Evergreen Mona Myers Lamte of the Tema Country Golf Club and Felicia Ochei Giabo of the Royal Club to second and third positions. Now, the national rugby team, the Black Eagles, were at their best as they beat their Togolese counterparts by 17 goals to 0. It was an international friendly played at the Accra Sports Stadium.
The festival attracted a lot of people as various clubs drawn from the regions battled for honors in both the male and female championships. In a keenly contested finals, Cosmos Buffaloes in the yellow and black jersey were crowned champions after beating Titans 22 points to 7.
Salut à toi, pays de nos aïeux, toi qui les rendais forts, to defend forever. The cost of freedom and of right.
The high point of the day was the international friendly match between the national rugby team, the Black Eagles, and their Togolese counterparts. The Black Eagles in the black, red, yellow and green jersey took control of the game. Ghana took a 7-point lead in the first half after Michael Akwe made the first try and Rabiu Mohammed converted it to end the half on high for the Eagles. Back from the break, Theophilus Opari scored a try and Rabiu Mohammed converted a penalty try to make it 17-0 to win the game for Ghana. Some officials of the Ghana Rugby Football Union and players spoke to our news team.
We are doing this in preparation towards the league. You know, previously the season is mostly quiet unless leagues or international tournament, but now we want to keep the boys playing all the time. So for the first time we are organizing a festival which involves schools, kids rugby, the female team, and then an international match between Ghana and Togo.
Cash prizes and other tokens were presented to deserving teams and players.
Kumasi Razak Abdul Mumin is the 2015 Cowbell Cycling League winner. He completed a 3-day event in a time of 7 hours 20 minutes and 1 second. The final stage of the 2015 Cowbell Cycling League was preceded by a bicycle caravan for amateur cyclists. It was to promote safe riding in the Greater Accra region. The final itself was staged in the Manchagbuna circuit. The 80-kilometer distance required the cyclists to make a 20 high-speed lap criterion. After a superb ride on day 2, where he completed a 5-minute breakaway in the Accra Manfi Accra race, Kumasi-based Abdul Razak Mumin from the River Park Cycling Club again proved beyond doubt that he deserves the crown. He completed a 3-day event in 7 hours, 20 minutes and 1 second. He also won the red jersey for the best fighter, green jersey for the best cyclist by point, and the coveted yellow jersey for the best by time. He was presented with a cash prize totaling 4,000 Ghana cedis, a gold medal, trophies, as well as product and branded cycling gear from event sponsors. Other notable winners of the 2015 Cowbell Cycling League included 18-year-old Velostar rider Frank Ekufu. He won the white jersey, which symbolized the best young cyclist prize. The River Park Cycling Club in Sunyani picked the blue jersey for winning the best by time in the team category. That's all for sports.
Now some arts news. He was an award-winning fashion designer, a pioneer in promoting modern African styles internationally. His interest in art and design was encouraged by his father, and this was the beginning of his journey into the world of fashion. He became a household name both at home and abroad, making a beaded top for Princess Anne. He was the lead designer who made GTV's Fashion on the Move program possible. 1 year on, Kofi Ansah is being celebrated on Friday, the 30th of October at the La Beach Hotel in Accra. The people of Isiama in the Western region have climaxed the Kundum Festival. The focus of this year's festival was on development efforts in the area.
In the Lambele district of the Western region, residents here are mostly fishermen and traders. The residents continue to strive to bring about development to the area. At Adeba to climax the annual Kundum Festival, traditional leaders from Isiama and adjoining towns, professionals, tourists and residents took part in the celebrations. The celebration had the theme Sanitation and Beautification, an effective tool for community development. It was also used to celebrate the first anniversary of the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Gas Company, Dr. Sipayanki, who was installed as the Nkosohini, or the development chief of the town, under the stool name Nanaijwa 80 Poli the First. Dr. Sipayanki said developing Esiama is a priority and promised to meet the expectations of the people. He urged all to put their political differences aside and unite to achieve a common goal.
Party politics should not even divide us at all, because even within the party political system, you've got what we call a resurrecting and uniting seed, which is the marriage of the opposing views from the various sides of the political divide. It is the marriage of the ideas, the programs, the ideals that should actually unite us, so that when any group from one sees that another group has got something good to offer to the country, we should go for that which is good for the country and not be blinded by any other factor. So I'm saying politics should rather unite us, because the marriage in the policies of the opposing side should be the seed which should unite us, should be the seed which should germinate into growth, development and welfare for the people.
The Omanhini of our so traditional area, Awulai Kakwaka, appealed to leaders to serve the people faithfully, adding that education should be the benchmark for the people of Nzima land. A partly completed post office was inaugurated.
Thank you for keeping company with us.
Have a good evening.